If you're looking to correct negative camber on your lower 2015 and newer Mustang while also improving things like handling and launching performance, then you should definitely consider a set of the BMR rear upper control arm camber links that we're talking about here today. Now the BMR uppers will combine a durable T6 billet aluminum construction with a combination of Delrin bushings along with spherical bearings, all for the mid $300 price point. Installation won't be terribly difficult, but will require the removal of 2 rear wheels, so therefore the site will nudge us up to a soft 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter and a couple of hours or so to complete from start to finish, as we'll show you guys a little later in the video. So as the name implies, control arms play a vital role in your Mustang suspension by controlling or essentially limiting the movement in your Mustang's rear end. Now with the older 4-lane cars, SN95s, things like that, you had 2 uppers, 2 lowers. Now with the S197, you had a 3-link, which was 2 lowers, 1 upper, and a panhard bar. Now with the IRS-equipped S550s, you got all kinds of stuff going on, right? You've got your vertical links, which essentially act as a lower control arm. You got rear toe links, lateral links, or camber arms, which these will replace. And then there will be a host of smaller but equally important parts, such as your IRS bushings, in addition to your cradle bushing lockouts. And like all factory parts, those suspension components are historically loaded with soft rubber bushings from the factory, which are great for the masses because they're going to provide a quiet and comfortable ride. But for the enthusiasts out there looking for all-out performance, this soft rubber is the enemy because it leads to deflection, which leads to things like poor handling, poor traction, and that dreaded wheel hop. Now, the upper control arms or camber links here from BMR are going to address 2 different things. First and foremost, they are going to help increase your ability to corner and launch harder thanks to the superior components, but they're also going to help lend themselves to correct your suspension geometry on lowered Mustangs, as they are a bit physically longer compared to the factory arms, which, by the way, those factory arms don't allow for proper correction once the car has been lowered. BMR goes on to state that guys out there who are serious about drag racing with their IRS-equipped S550s, these guys here will help you achieve a 0 camber setting in the rear end, which really is going to be ideal for straight line traction and drag racing. Well, let's touch on that superior build a little bit more. And again, guys, there's really no comparison between the BMR stuff and the factory part you will be replacing. The BMR arms here will be CNC machined from high quality billet aluminum and then finished off in an anodized black. Now at that point, one end receives the durable Delrin bushing, which is going to be a bit firmer compared to your more traditional polyurethane stuff. The other end, guys, features a solid spherical bearing, and when working together, these two will all but eliminate the factory deflection while still allowing for acceptable NVH levels and ride quality. Now the Delrin bushing is going to be fluted on the inside, and basically that means all that grease that you do grease this thing with from time to time will prolong the life of the bushing itself, but also keep things a little bit more quiet at the same time. No squeaks or any noises, things like that. Everything is built right here in the USA and will be backed by BMR's 2-year limited warranty against any possible defects. Now, I do want to point out that BMR does offer other options with these arms, including combinations of polyurethane, Delrin, full spherical, adjustable options. That's one thing I really dig about the company. They give owners out there a wide variety of parts to better suit your driving style and your needs. Now with that covered, guys, this is the time in the video where I stop yapping and show you all what it takes to get these installed on your S550. So hang out for a bit. Here is our detailed walkthrough along with a quick tool breakdown.
Tools required for this install: a torque wrench, a ratcheting 18mm wrench is very helpful, 15mm wrench, a 3/8 drive with an 18mm socket, and an extension. Optional is going to be this air ratchet, and to get my wheel off, I did use a 1/2-inch impact with my 21mm socket, and I did use a hammer to get that bolt out. All right, so the first step into getting those links in is to get our wheels off. So with the wheel and tire off, we're going to take an 18mm socket and place it on this nut right here. And we're going to take a 15mm wrench and grab the bolt head. I'm going to go ahead and take this out of here. Then we're just going to push this bolt through. I'm gonna grab a hammer, and to always be safe to protect those threads, let's start that nut back on there. Just give it a tap. Then to help back it out, I'm actually going to just put a 15mm socket on here and use my ratchet to get this out of here. Last couple threads here. All right, now we're gonna go after this nut right here, which is an 18mm. On the inside, the 15mm head is actually captured, so there's a little tab that goes into the body, so you don't have to worry about getting a tool onto that. This is an 18mm ratcheting wrench. We're just gonna remove these. All right, let's see if I can get this by hand now. I'm gonna go ahead and push the bolt through. We got a little vent here in the way. We'll just sneak this out from the bottom. So let's go ahead and get our new BMR upper control arms in place. One important thing to note is this relief right here is going to be on the inside. That's just gonna make clearance for that CV shaft. So let's sneak this in here. Put it in place. I'm gonna come from the backside behind the shock and the spring and get my bolt started here and go through. I'm gonna start my nut. Now I'm not gonna tighten this down all the way because it does have a torque value of 85 foot-pounds, but I'm gonna bring in my air ratchet here and just help tightening it up a little bit. All right, now I still have a little bit of movement here because I need to get my, my spherical end in. I'll slip that on now. Bring this down. And you do have to push up a little bit on that rotor to get that bolt started. Got a little bit showing. I'm gonna give it a little love tap. Again, 18mm nut on the back side. And this has a 15mm head. All right, so as you can see, I brought a torque wrench in, and for the inside bolt here, we're going to 85 foot-pounds. All right, there we go. And for this outside one, we're gonna go to 76 foot-pounds. Now I'm gonna get this wheel and tire back on, but all those steps you just saw, you can complete on the driver's side to get that upper control arm in. That's going to wrap up my install of the BMR rear upper control arm camber links for your Mustang S550. And for all things Mustang, keep it here at AmericanMuscle.com.